So, Albie, today it was, by the way, supply chain stuff. The world is a weird place, man. Yesterday...
All I know is this weekend you couldn't find me sugar-free Red Bull.
Well, guess what? Guess what's back?
Sugar-free Red Bull?
Nope, it's still not there. It is gone. But what's back is Bourgeon cheese, and then that Bourgeon knockoff is there now, which wasn't there yesterday. So the supply chain weirdness stuff is still happening. Those of you who have enjoyed clam sauce know that grocery stores play clam sauce games all the time. They do. All the time. You know that if you like white clam sauce, you know, and all you see is red clam sauce, you know that the dude, the stock kid, is half-assing it, and there's white clam sauce back there. You just got to rifle through about 10 reds. And if you're tall, like me, then you can get it done. Some people are just screwed. You're just out. As far as you know, it's just red clam sauces forever.
Like when you send me to the store, I can't find any.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's several things that work there. A lot of that's intentional. So like,
I always try 100% to find your clam
So
sauce.
now they really are out of a lot of the clam sauce. Like there's actually just red clam sauce for miles now, and nobody likes that crap. Anybody who bought red clam sauce has purchased it by mistake. It's like the same people who, and I've done this before, and it made me want to firebomb the Shaws near me about 7 years ago when I bought the big container of paprika, thinking it was cayenne. Can you imagine?
I think we're still working through that paprika, actually.
Can you imagine that? I had every legal right to set up plastic explosives and explode that place. Every legal right. As a matter of fact,
I don't know about that.
And then what's the other one? Last year, remember last year with the Hershey's drinks I got?
The Hershey's drinks?
Remember I got Hershey's chocolate milk, a 12-pack for the kids when they had the neighbors' kids sleep over?
Okay, and
listen to this. This is classic, you guys. I go into the aisle that would have little cartons of chocolate milk, and Hershey's makes the little brown chocolate milk cartons.
Oh, I do remember this.
And I got a pack or two for the kids, and I brought them home, and it was white milk. Hershey's is now in the effing business of non-Hershey milk, which is
it was Hershey's regular milk in a juice box type.
Unforgivable.
I do remember that now.
I think that's just about it. I did buy that beer, that what was the brand name of that Spanish Modelo, that turned out to be beer mixed with tomato juice.
Yes.
Which was actually good, but was not what I was looking for. I was looking for a beer, not a tomato juice, which is a thing. But that's fine. That's fine. You guys don't care. You probably don't care. Maybe you care. So today. Oh, okay. Would you like me to hit the procession right now? Have we talked about the poem?
No, we haven't.
Okay, so this is. You remember we've talked about the poem previously. The inauguration poet, Amanda Gorman, who became famous for her inauguration poem, and she had a January 5th poem too, I think.
Yes, she did a poem about January 6th, and isn't she like the youth poet laureate of the United States now?
Right, and so the orders were to love her because she's really, first of all, she's a historic first, and then love her because she's extremely, she's powerful.
Her poetry is just
there is powerful things happening. Brilliant. So here's her January 5th poem.
We've seen a force that would shatter our nation rather than share it, would destroy our country if it meant delaying.
Can I have a carrot? That's the only way you're getting out of this one, because in poetry, you have to rhyme, right?
Democracy. In this effort, very nearly succeeded.
Yeah.
But while democracy can be periodically delayed,
it will never be defeated?
It can never be permanently defeated.
Wow. Am I talented too?
In this truth, in this...
Anyway, so there you go. And she did another one too. Long, stem-winding thing with a stream of consciousness. This is, okay, let me say it. She seems like a lovely person. And she is... she's gone to, I assume, good colleges are going to, and she's told that she's very smart everywhere she goes, and it just might work. She may actually get out of this college with a self-confidence that's so built up.
She has books of her poetry out, and like NPR promotes her. So I mean, like, I think she's going to be fine in her life. But she has been done a disservice by a lot of people in her life,
right?
Who have told her that she's brilliant
because she's not good at poems, among other things, and that's fine. And
not a lot of people are good at poems.
No, I mean, if you've ever been to slam poetry, talk about wanting to toss a grenade into a place in the 90s. I had an issue with the slam poetry scene, which was encroaching in every corner of my life, which of course was in the bars that needed people in them. So Amanda
At
Gorman.
least this one rhymes.
Should we go? Do you want to read it dry, or should we play our?
I think you should play your piece that you made earlier.
Well, are you sure?
Yeah.
Because this is her. She had to write this one in a jiffy, I think, because of Roe v. Wade, which
she had at least a month since the draft leaked.
Right.
She could have been working on this for a while.
Most romantically centered poets, etc., would want to weigh in on the steely cold surgical procedure to get rid of children. That seems to me that's where you should be centered as a person. So here we go. Here's this is how do you set this up? Because I don't want to do it wrong.
Well, she wrote a lovely poem, and I performed a dramatic reading for Tom's show earlier today.
It's coming, believe me. A little stanza, then it's coming.
This poem at least does rhyme. I will give it that. We will not be delayed. We will not be masquerade to the tale of a handmaid.
Oh, do I stop it now here?
Yes, sure, okay. Go ahead.
So there has been a catastrophic event in this poem already.
Well, I mean, there's been two, because masquerade is not a past participle of anything. We have not been masquerade doesn't mean anything. It's a useless phrase. Masquerade is like a noun or a verb.
I don't think it works like that, but let's try again. We're going to start from the beginning here, Alice. We'll get to it in a second. We will not be masquerade is not correct English. Am I correct?
I don't believe so.
Okay. But it gets to be in this poem.
We will not be delayed. We will not be masquerade to the tale of a handmaid.
Editor's note, Alice?
Editor's note, handmaid in this poem, and I assume this is like deeply meaningful, is spelled Handmade.
Do you suspect that's deeply meaningful, Alice?
I think that when pressed, that's what people are going to say, because that's what I saw some white liberals who are embarrassingly enough having to defend this person because they've built up a whole mythology of how brilliant she is, talking about how the people saying that she misspelled handmade lack nuance, and they just don't understand that she's doing something more subtle and very brilliant.
Yes, she's working on a level we can't comprehend, is what's happening.
We will not let Roe v. Wade slowly fade. Because when we...
She didn't see Roe v. Wade coming up at all once we started on the aid. Once we masqueraded, once we did not masquerade, I'm sure, whatever we did, we saw it coming.
We show up today.
Just think, poor Masquerade was impressed into this thing incorrectly just because we needed something to rhyme with Roe v. Wade.
Don't get so Masquerade, honey. We are already standing up with the tomorrow we made.
Not a bad rendition of Tavern of the Bells, or what is this called?
It's called a few different things in different places. Here it's like the graduation thing. In England it's called Hope and Glory, and it's like a patriotic thing.
I like that. I like the English version. If you had culture, Alice, like I did in...
Pomp and circumstance, that's what we call it here for graduation.
If you had culture like I did in 1987, Alice, you would have noticed that they were playing that song as Randy Macho Man Savage came out at the Boston Garden to beat Tito Fernandez for the Intercontinental title. I was at that match, Alice, 1987.
With your mullet?
Yes. It was not a good time.
Wouldn't want to be missing that.
I didn't present well, we'll say that.
The kids, by the way, we played Tom's video that's on YouTube of him, his secret video. You can find his YouTube channel somewhere where there's a video of him in 1991 washing his dog with his mullet, and the kids, we were playing it for the kids yesterday, and they made fun not very impressed.
Not only that, but they made fun of the way my mouth worked and looked and how I talked. This little a-holes. Just saying, I was trying to tell them, nobody was on video in 1991. Nobody, that was my neighbor had a video camera and brought it over and videoed me. It's a very awkward thing back then. It's not like now where everybody's videoing you and taking pictures with cell phones. It was an odd thing, all right? I was not presenting well. I was not...
I thought you were cute.
I wasn't bringing my best.
I thought you were cute.
Thank you. It was a huge hit. You can find that. That's me with Calvin the dog. Just think, in that video, Alice, at that time, I thought I was fat.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Holy God. I am 16 sizes away from that.
My goodness.
Good shirt, though. That was a really good shirt. Paisley. Okay. All right. So, Alice, what else is going on in the world?
Well, I mean, I really think that we're still sort of like culturally and news-wise in this like Roe v. Wade tailspin. It's sort of everything is still all about this. We can't get away from it. So, Kamala Harris, as usual, had some deep thoughts about who this impacts. Did you play her? She did a whole big CNN interview, and I have not had time to go through the whole thing. So
I haven't even seen it. You sent it to us?
Yeah, I sent this one cut from you. There's a whole big CNN interview, but it just came out. So
when we think about it, everyone has something at risk on this. First of all, if you are a parent of sons, do think about what this means for the life of your son and what that will mean in terms of the choices he will have.
I don't know what that means. Do you know what that means?
It means that not having abortions will limit your son's choices in life.
Oh, it got locked down with some lame broad.
Yeah.
Oh, no good. No good. That's all I have of her. But I did.
Yeah, but there is a whole interview. We'll have to go through it and look.
I
for
did
more
see
cuts.
somewhere that she said that it took her, like, she was shocked by the news. Like Thursday, if she was shocked by the news, that's not good.
She's not brilliant, I would say. But, I mean, I don't know. So, but there's also stuff, she's talking about the filibuster, trying to get rid of the filibuster still to get rid of this legislatively, which is still possible. But, I mean, if I were the Democrats, I would really, really try and think ahead 5 minutes about what happens if you get rid of the filibuster on legislation.
Right.
Now, inflation is really high. Are you concerned about a recession? The administration said that they weren't that worried about inflation, and then that changed.
I think that there can be no higher priority than what we have been clear is our highest priority, which is bringing down the costs and the prices as much as we possibly can, and we will stay focused on that.
Now.
Okay.
And I couldn't believe it. Because they actually did it. And here's what they did.
I couldn't believe it. It was leaked 2 months ago.
I know.
I couldn't believe it. The conservative judges are doing the things that they've always done, and they did it again. Huh.
The court actually took a constitutional right that has been recognized for half a century and took it from the women of America. That's shocking when you think about it, in terms of what that means, in terms of democratic principles, in terms of the idea.
Yeah, but if you look at it another way, they gave somebody a constitutional right that they didn't have before, namely unborn children. So it really just, I suppose, depends on your perspective.
Ideals upon which we were founded, about liberty, about freedom.
Once again, Democrats cannot have an argument on this if they mention the third party. They can't. So we're all playing a game here, and she's playing checkers with one half of the checkerboard, and we all see it. But we're pretending that we're not seeing it. They took away a constitutional right.
I thought about it as, a parent. We have 2 children who are in their 20s, a son and a...
She's not a parent.
Right.
By the way.
She's not a parent. She did not give birth. She's not a birthing person. She's not, I'm sorry, she could consider them her own kids or whatever. She's not a parent. She has very little to say in this.
Daughter. I thought about it as a godparent of teenagers. I thought of it as an aunt of preschool children.
And a woman yourself.
And a woman myself.
Thanks, Dana.
And the daughter of a woman. And a granddaughter of a woman. And, my husband and I are actually talking about it. We have a 23-year-old, and my mother-in-law's in her 80s. Our daughter
has less rights than her grandmother?
Will not know the rights for the amount of time that my mother-in-law knew these rights, which is the right that should be well settled, that a woman should have to make decisions about her own body. And when we think about it, everyone has something at risk on this.
What is the meaning of putting her out there and having her say stuff? Just so her poll numbers can go further south?
I think they're hoping that she'll be able to salvage some poll numbers. I think they're thinking, women's rights issue affects minorities more than white women. We have it. We can put her out here to talk about this injustice and inequity, and this is like a winning issue for her. Abortion is popular, etc. Roe v. Wade polls well. People don't want to get rid of it. So we'll put her out here on this popular issue to stand up to the unpopular court doing this, quote, undemocratic thing, and this will be a winning thing for her. She can't screw this up. Right? I mean, don't you think that's the thought?
I think the
Especially
thought is
when
this.
Biden is sucking?
Well, the old man is in Europe right now. So he's doing Putin right now. He's doing, new NATO stuff.
Well, and Biden has no credibility on this because he's pushed to put abortion law back to the states in the past. And
It
he's
doesn't
been
matter.
a big
He's been on both
proponent
sides
of
of
the Hyde
all
Amendment.
issues. He doesn't
I
care.
know, but he's
But
not
the thing
a
is
good
that they're trying to win
spokesperson
both
for
news
this.
cycles. They're trying to win the best of the domestically. The administration has to get in on this. So they put this vacuous person up there to do her thing. And internationally, they sent him over there. There's a campaign. There's a press campaign. They're trying to get him some good press from overseas. Which is why, if you didn't know, but by the way, Putin bombed. I'm going to leave this right there. He bombed a mall with thousands of people in it.
I heard that on Twitter.
Yeah. Well, be outraged, because I was told to be outraged. Can you imagine a madman, prosecuting a war? Is acting like a madman prosecuting a war? He bombed the mall? Since when is that okay? I thought that there was a clause that had to do with something about the Cheesecake Factory not being the target of...
The real question is, how come with all this money that we're giving Ukraine, this isn't done yet?
Because Putin has no domestic cost. He doesn't care how many people he loses or how much ordnance he dumps in there. They're happy to...
So what does it get us to keep pouring money into there?
I stand with Ukraine,
That's fine. We can all stand with Ukraine. But I'm just wondering, what result do we expect to see for, what are we up to? $65 billion? Something? We're, up to a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, glad you asked that
in
question.
however many months, 3 months or something.
Well,
right?
I've always thought that I'm not really comfortable until the Donbass is securely in Ukraine's possession and the Crimea is back.
Are we likely to get that result? Or are we likely to have Putin have a big chunk of Ukraine after all this is said and done?
Yeah. I stand with Ukraine, Alice.
Okay.
So, also, here's another thing. Here's Kamala Harris, and the problem is this: that when you put her out there to do to shore up the domestic, windfall from the Roe thing, she's occasionally, especially since CNN now, the anchors are now trying out for jobs. She's occasionally going to get a real question.
Is there anything else you can do to help bring down the cost of gas?
Well, first of all, let's just say that this is a very real issue. And we have to do something about it. And it's one of our highest priorities as an administration.
Is there anything?
She has mastered the art of saying extremely little while saying a lot of words.
What do you say to Democratic voters who argue, wait a minute, we worked really hard to elect a Democratic president and vice president, Democratic-led House, a Democratic-led Senate. Do it now.
But do what now? What now? I mean, listen, what we did, we extended the child tax credit for the first year.
Well, I'm sorry, when I say do what, do it now, act legislatively to make abortion rights legal.
We feel the same way. Do it now. Congress needs to do it now in terms of permanently putting in place a clear indication that it is the law of the land that women have the ability and the right to make decisions about their reproductive care, and the government does not have the right to make those decisions for a woman.
Oh, man, if you're a feminist or big pro-abortion person and you must be watching this and saying, we have nothing. Nobody's going to do anything. You've got her saying this. You've got AOC wanting to put abortion clinics in the national parks.
No, that's Elizabeth Warren.
I saw AOC too, so maybe it's now a Democratic issue.
Well, yeah, so that's what Liz Warren wants to do. She wants, all the national parks. She wants to allow Planned Parenthood to set up tents to do abortions in the national parks because that's like federal land, so supposedly the states can't control it or something. So they can do that there, which doesn't really necessarily can the people who can't travel to another state to get an abortion, can they get to the national park for their abortion tent? And
I guess so.
And their vacation rolled into one or whatever it is that they're supposedly doing. I mean, I don't really understand.
It's too bad there's not a Saturday Night Live, a real one, because can you imagine? We want to put abortion clinics, Planned Parenthoods in the national parks.
In tents.
Over here's
want
the stuffed
abortion
owl.
tents.
Over here's the operating room in stirrups. Totally makes sense. What? What do you mean? What's wrong? Here's Kamala asked about eliminating the filibuster.
As the vice president, as the president of the Senate, do you have a position on, I know you don't have a vote on it, but do you have a position on whether the filibuster should be eliminated?
I think the president has spoken on that issue. And
he said and more, he kind of left the door open. Is this where he was leaving the door open to?
I think that he has been clear about where we stand on this issue of reproductive health and what the president and our administration have within our toolkit to do. And so far, that's what we've been pursuing.
She has no position.
Yeah. Like I said, she's really good at saying lots of words that don't add up to
Yeah, but she should have a position on
point.
ending the filibuster. She should have... I mean, there are his policy positions there. The press shop works on them every day and no doubt puts them in front of her.
She doesn't want to bother learning that, though. That's a pain. And this interview is going to come out. This is supposed to be another star turn for her, obviously, because it's this big, fancy CNN interview, right? And she's blowing it again. Somebody's going to get a stapler thrown at them in Kamala's office tonight. I'll tell you that, because she can't go out here and look this dumb every time without trying to blame somebody. Is there anybody left working in her office who's competent anymore, or did they all quit because she's a psychotic tyrant?
And what about the idea of financial resources, some form of voucher for travel, childcare services, other forms of support for people, for women seeking abortions in states where it's not legal, but they just don't have the means to go elsewhere?
I think you're asking a very important point, making a very important point, which is what are the details that are going to go into ensuring that women have the ability to actually travel without impairment. And we know that on this issue, women who have access to resources will probably be far less impacted by this decision than women who don't have resources. So this is something that we are looking at.
Oh, man, this is tough stuff.
So does she have a position on the travel vouchers or no?
I'm not sure. She's looking into whether or not there's resources. But also, I love that. So we're going to give you money to travel to go get an abortion, and we're going to provide the daycare for the lucky child who you have already. So we're going to take care of one kid with government money, and we're going to finance the snuffing out of the other kid with government money.
Which isn't allowed, by the way. This is the problem with the National Park Planned Parenthood pop-up clinic plan, too, is that the Hyde Amendment, which Joe Biden has long been a champion of, by the way, prevents using federal money for abortions. So as far as I can tell, you can't actually do any of this. Because, even the military can't, I don't believe, cover abortions in their health insurance for their members. Because, you can't, I think it's blocked off everywhere. I think federal money can't go to abortions in any way through the Hyde Amendment. But, I mean, who knows? I don't know. They're flailing about trying to find something. Of course, none of this really matters because this isn't going to have that big an impact. That's the thing about this. And that's why it's not going to affect the midterms that much, is that in the vast majority of the states that even like have trigger laws, a lot of them are like the Mississippi one that passed, it is a 15-week one. You know, that's not going to stop even that many. The majority of the abortions in the state are before that point. So believe me, I'd like to see more of them stopped. But this isn't going to impact that many people that much. And yeah, they're saying like, oh, only 16 states have a law that actually protects abortion rights in advance. But those states actually contain a lot of people because it's like California and New York and Massachusetts. And, you know, there are a bunch of states where people are not going to be impacted by this at all. And there will be a few states, but for the most part, believe it or not, people aren't going to run out and go get back alley abortions. A lot of them are just going to decide to have the kid because they just were, you know, sort of being inconvenienced by the whole thing. Because,
right.
And that was the reason they wanted the abortion. They're not going to do anything with a coat hanger over that.
So here's Whoopi Goldberg on this, and she's got an admonition for Clarence Thomas.
Nothing is precedent anymore.
Well, you better hope that they don't come for you, Clarence, and say you should not be married to your wife, who happens to be white. Because they will move that. And you better hope that nobody says, you know, well, you're not in the Constitution, you're back to being a quarter of a person.
We're back to the 50s.
Because that's not going to work either.
Three-fifths.
We're back to the 50s, says Joy Reid. Thank you, Joy. Alice, you know, I've been, listen.
Okay. Is that when black people were a quarter of a person?
Correct.
The 50s?
The late 50s to even in the 70s, I remember there were some black people in the neighborhood who weren't quite full. No. So here's my thing. You sent out, you subtweeted me today.
I did.
Please tell people the subject matter that was tweeted and exactly what was said. This was what we would call a broadside attack, a sneak attack, a Pearl Harbor job.
It was an accurate statement. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know, this account tweeted about how, in general, being an American male is hazardous to your health. Men in the U.S. die an average of 5 years before women do. In other rich countries such as Iceland, Norway, Japan, and Australia, men live on average 8 years longer than they do in the U.S., even though Americans spend more on health care. For the past few years, life expectancy of men in the U.S. has dipped further. So why is it so bad for your health, and is there anything we can do about it? Heart disease is the leading cause of death, killing nearly 1 in 3 men, often prematurely. In large part due to poor diet, smoking, obesity, excessive alcohol, stress, lack of exercise, and underlying conditions such as diabetes and kidney problems.
I don't smoke. Mm-hmm.
After heart disease, cancer is the second leading cause of death, causing 22.5% of male deaths in the country.
I happen not to have cancer in the family, historically, so I think I'm good to go there.
And they illustrated this article with a picture of a very cute man lying on a sofa in the glow, I believe, of a screen and eating something out of a bowl. Maybe he's about to dip a chip in it. I can't tell exactly, but he's like posing in a sort of Adonis-like pose. So I don't know. I said, this picture reminds me of someone.
Right, which is an attack on me.
It wasn't an attack. I thought
All
it
right,
was
so
cute.
so, and I would say, I think
his
that
little pose on the sofa reminded me.
I think that some people, even people who aren't biased, people who are considered middle of the road, would probably say that I'm a fat person. I think somebody could say that fairly and not feel like you're going too far on a ledge. As a matter of fact, there are several descriptions of obesity when you go to the doctor that they give you. And I'm
morbidly.
No, I'm past that.
You're
believe
past
me.
Morbidly?
Yes, Alice. Morbidly is like 80 pounds ago. Believe me. When I lost a bunch of weight recently, the woman said, like, I'm sorry. You tell me. Oh, there's all like horrific descriptions. None of them are good, but they get worse. So I'm in there. So I'm a fat. So I believe I can center myself. So I present as fat. I am a victim of the food conglomerates, certainly, and so I'm a victim, and I am here.
What about medical fat phobia? Have you experienced?
Of course, I have. Of course, and so since I'm a victim, I believe that I'm allowed to speak freely about this because I have suffered. Can I do now? But you called me fat. My friends call me fat. So I am reminded that I am fat.
Your kids call you fat.
My kids call me fat. I also see myself in the mirror and in pictures, and I say, that is a fat guy. So I am reminded.
I still like you, though.
No, hold on.
Okay.
I am reminded that I'm fat, and I know it, and I remind myself. And so it is a thing. So sometimes, like for instance this week, other than this light beer from Miller, I try to get some exercise and walk a little bit and try to shed a few pounds here and there because it's good. It's a good thing to know. Mm-hmm. It's a good thing to be on it. And I have no problem with people reminding me of it. I think it's absolutely fair game and good. But I don't think everybody plays those rules, Alice. I'm looking at Whoopi Goldberg in The View here, who are in a big table. They're on a remote somewhere. Mm-hmm. And on the left is Whoopi Goldberg.
Okay.
On the far right is Ana Navarro.
Mm-hmm.
Less pronounced in the middle is Joy Behar. Then there's two other, backbenchers who are on there as well. Between the Whoopi and Ana Navarro, I believe, Alice, we're looking at about a combined 643 pounds.
That's impossible.
These women are huge. They're huge. Why is nothing being said about this? You're not doing them any favors. They're ridiculous fatties. And Behar may not be as much, but I think she still is.
Well, I think that the consensus now on the left is that it's not unhealthy to be fat, and it's actually good and positive, and that anybody who says anything negative about it has fat phobia.
Okay. I am just saying that perhaps we should...
so somebody sent us a thing from the Y that they saw. There was like a little table out at their YMCA for Pride Month, a picture. Did you notice this, that somebody sent us this?
Oh, no.
So their thing at the Y says, "We welcome all sizes, all colors, all genders, all beliefs, all religions, all types, all people, everyone." But that's part of the YMCA's philosophy now, is that all sizes are good and just equally valid and healthy. So, if that's at the YMCA, which is ostensibly like a fitness place, right?
Uh-huh.
That it's for all sizes. And I get it, like, yes, of course you want everybody to be allowed to go to the gym to work out to get more fit. But this idea that there's not something desirable and positive and good and healthy about being skinnier, that's not inherently better for you than being overweight. I'm surprised, honestly, that this article that I tweeted was allowed to exist, saying that the reason American men die is because they eat less, because I'm surprised that was allowed to go out there like that.
Right. Agreed. But
because that's fat phobic. The fat activists will tell you that you can be healthy at any size, that there's not inherently anything less healthy about being fat, and that the idea that being fat kills you is unscientific fat phobia, and that it's just fat phobia in medicine, that you get worse health care and the doctors are meaner to you because you're fat.
Okay.
Which is true. You went in for a thing with your toe, and they did talk to you about your blood pressure.
Right. I did not get the toe health I was looking for. I was thrown away.
So, see, you were a victim of fat phobia in medicine. They did not care about your toe.
He sent me away with nothing that I was looking for.
So you could have died of sepsis of the toe.
So somebody who's not fat is a young lady named Sophie Spheris. Do you know Sophie?
Mm-mm.
She's from somewhere around Greenwich, Connecticut, somewhere down there.
Okay.
She's only 17 years old. She's not fat. She's cute, like a 17-year-old would be. Okay? Sophie Spheris, Alice, is part of a news package that they ran about. They had to have a day of shock and horror because abortion is not ready anymore.
Did the schools all have to offer counselors?
I'm sure they did. Sophie, we will never get better as a country while there are people who think like this.
I'm only 17, and I just found out that I no longer have a right to my own body, and that's really effing upsetting.
I'm only 17, which in other words means love me.
Mm-hmm.
and I don't have a right to my own body.
I mean,
This girl, Sophie.
I'm only 17, and I just found out that I no longer have.
By the way, the word teen shouldn't take 11 seconds to say.
I'm
like
only
Sophie.
17, and I just found out that I no longer have a right to my own body, and that's really effing upsetting.
One, is Sophie Spheris upset?
No.
Correct. Two, does Sophie Spheris have a right to her own body?
Yes.
Right.
Has anything changed for Sophie
It has
Spheris
not.
from Friday?
But you know what Sophie Spheris is going to do? She's going to go and finish up her school in Connecticut. She's then probably going to go to Columbia or Brown or Yale somewhere and get a big degree. Then she's going to get a master's degree. And then she's going to be very credentialed. And she's never going to be told, much like Amanda Gorman, whose poetry sucks, she's never going to be told that she's a moron. Instead, Sophie's going to go into something where she gets to tell people what to do. And she'll never have a reckoning. I'm only 35, and I just found out, and it's just going to be more victimhood, more woe is me. The most important thing about the world is how bad that people are treating me. Because my name is Sophie. I'm 17. I'm a cute teenager from Greenwich, Connecticut, who's rich as hell and has zero problems.
Now, do you think Sophie, when she eventually has kids, which she will do eventually,
2 at most.
do you think she will bring
Yardsley will be 1.
Yardsley?
Yep, Yardsley, and what's another one?
Something that ends in like
LEY is going to be huge. Yardsley will be one of them.
But anything that ends in like
maybe it could be a Sawyer in there.
Or I was gonna say anything that ends in like ON or EN, like
Go ahead, you had a
Colton.
Oh yes. I get the feeling that the ivy on the walls. I sent you emails, by the way. We're late on some credit cards. You saw that, right?
Okay, I'll do it.
We'll see now.
Thank you.
Well, it's fine. I get 186,000 calls from 866 numbers. I just want to make sure that when I forward the documents, that as the families,
you can be the family accountant if you want. I don't have that much time.
You went to college. I didn't go to college, Alice.
Okay, you can take it on anytime.
I can't be accountable for that much money. I'm going to spend it down the club or something. So what were you saying about Sophie?
I was going to say, do you think she'll bring Yardsley to Drag Queen Story Hour?
Oh, F yes. F yes. She's a really good person. Yes.
Do you think Yardsley will be just one of the 2 main genders?
Yardsley will be things that we cannot even imagine at this moment. You will have to... There are pronouns that haven't yet been developed now made for Yardsley, yes.
So, speaking of which... can you play the TikTok song that I found earlier? Did you see that earlier today?
I saw
TikTok.
Or no? I saw that you found something. Sorry, me and Alice passed through like ships in the night during the day, so we're not coordinated sometimes.
This is our time when we talk.
It is our time when we talk. Okay. Okay, this is Reina Del Cid.
Yes.
Okay. Now, hold on.
I think you probably like Reina a little bit.
Is that a boy or a girl?
It's a girl.
Is she attractive?
I don't know. I think she has a lot of...
Might be something happening there. Okay, here we go.
My country 'tis of the land of inequity, of thee I sing.
Fantastic.
Land where my mothers cried, fought, bled, and sacrificed for rights which we...
Hold on. I've got a question for you, Alice. Does that rhyme?
Land where our mothers cried, fought, bled, and sacrificed?
Yes.
I'll give it a near rhyme, an off rhyme. Well, I mean, the starting one didn't rhyme either. My country 'tis of the land of inequity. I don't really give her that one either, but okay.
Oh my God. You know what?
What?
This girl actually has a stand-up 1980s Galaxians game in her room. Spoiled.
Probably with money that she gets from her
Yes.
TikTok, which has a million bajillion
Oh
followers.
my God. How dare she?
We are now denied, let freedom ring. Land of dystopia, religious myopia.
I have a question.
Yes.
What is a myopia?
Myopia is when you can't see.
Oh, okay. Okay, so the religious fanatics can't see the harm they're doing? Is that what's going on?
Well, yeah, myopia is like short-sightedness or like blindness. Like
That's interesting. The nicest
I
street
know.
in Winchester is Myopia.
I know.
You do?
You've told me that before.
Oh.
Okay.
I mourn for thee. Behind dusty oaken doors, 6-robed dinosaurs conspire to wage a holy war over our bodies. But the true bell of liberty, she does not mute easily. Long may she
Ring, 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 ring. Honey, Sophie's here to see you. Can you have her come up?
her echoes will amplify.
You're not allowed to sneak in words by speaking them before you start singing again. This is cheating.
Marching till morning light, all genders side by side, till freedom.
Can that be the end of the song, please?
Yeah,
Sophie?
It is.
My
Oh, man, that is good stuff.
All genders side by side. Let freedom ring. Let freedom ring. That's right. That is dead serious. By
All right,
the way.
chat
She is
time.
completely not humorous about that at all. That's what I found so incredible about that. It's done completely without a shred of irony or self-awareness.
How dare she get to have a Galaga or Galaxians? What a waste. All right, here we go. Chat time, Alice. Tell the folks how to leave their chat chats.
You go to burnbarrelpodcast.com where there's the links to all the places to watch and listen to Burn Barrel. And right on the main page, there is a button.
That looks a lot like an ad that you would usually never want to click.
It's a red button.
All right.
And you press it and you record a message.
Here we go. What?
It's been forever.
Oh, come on. That's not true. That's not true.
I want to kiss those lips.
Oh, Jesus. I don't mean to be whatever phobic it is to not, but first of all, it sounds like Grendel. It's like, are you serious? Oh, my goodness. That is not true. That is not
What
true.
do you know about Grendel?
I read the book and Beowulf. I read them both. I had a brief period of time in 1990, I guess that would have been 1980 and 9, where I was actually interested in reading for about 5 minutes and asked my English teacher what other books I could read. I decided I was a genius existentialist, so I read Camus and
Stranger.
Le Petit Prince and Grendel and what's the thing? The guy who shot John Lennon there.
Catcher in the Rye.
Yes, all the standard things 16-year-old jerk boys who decided they're geniuses will read. I read them all. Oh, and the thing
22.
no, I didn't read that, but I've seen the movie. But the thing where they have all the parties in
Gatsby.
Yeah.
The Great Gatsby.
Of course. Featured a Tom, I think. All right.
Tom and Alice, huge fan.
Hey.
Dan from Lowell, Mass.
Oh, we know Dan. We love Dan.
In Atlanta
Dan
now.
from Lowell?
Anyways, I was listening last week.
Not that Dan.
Tom and Alice, huge fan. Dan from Lowell, Mass. Live in Atlanta now.
Oh, geez.
Anyways, I was listening last Wednesday. Alice, you said any male teacher should not teach in elementary school. Anyways, I've got 30 years teaching PE, and I've done a damn good job, and I don't find kids attractive, so how dare you? I will continue listening, though.
I am 100% with you, Dan. I will engage with you in your class action suit. When you sue her for everything she has, I found it to be demeaning. I found it to be scurrilous that she said. I am with you, Dan, completely. Completely. Exactly.
I think PE is a little different.
Mm-hmm.
Are you friends with the 11-year-olds on TikTok, Dan?
Wow, this comes from a place of, I'll give them their video.
What? Oh. Why do you
Wow,
talk
Dan,
like that?
that's great. I'm glad you're from Lowell. I drove the Lowell Sun into the ground a couple of years ago, if you weren't around for that. All right. Hey, Dan, I appreciate it. Leave more messages, Dan. Well said. I am with you completely. Alice has demeaned the education community And I'm a fan, as a matter of fact, of them. And although I was not a fan of PE, they made you take your shirt off for the school.
In elementary school, they did?
Yeah. In elementary school, you had some privacy, but then in junior high, in front of the girls. Shirt off in front of girls and everybody else. I'm not okay, Alice. When I finally get my shrink, who's going to be attractive, if you can make it happen for me, we'll be hitting that one first.
Never getting you a shrink.
Incorrect.
I was wondering if Tom has a fast food top 5 list. All right. I'll wait and listen.
All right. Thanks, Justin. Okay, so let me tell you what we don't have up here that we did have. My brother and I lived in Kentucky for a while. Right after I was in high school, he was in the Army. So what we did have down there that we don't have up here is Arby's. I effing love Arby's. The beef and cheddar in Arby's was fantastic. You're allowed to self-service horsey sauces, which is a horseradish sauce. I love Arby's. Those beef and cheddars were fantastic. Nothing like them. So delicious. There was one at the Galleria in Somerville. The Galleria's in Somerville, right? No, Cambridge. Cambridge-side Galleria. Years ago, but it's 25 years ago. I don't remember. So I'll go with Arby's. I will go with Taco Bell. I've always had a soft spot for Taco Bell. When I lived on the West Coast briefly after high school, smoking a lot of weed, I liked Del Taco. I don't even know if that exists anymore. I'm going to go for Kentucky Fried Chicken, which is beautiful, and when done well now still, is the most gorgeous thing in the world. Kentucky Fried Chicken, just normal, the chicken thigh, drumstick, etc., especially if it's nice and greasy, is the most wonderful thing in the world. So I think that's up to 4. And I know this is safe and lame, but I will go with McDonald's. I think McDonald's is a good, reliable place. I think it did kind of peak maybe 15 years ago when the dollar menu was really kicking ass. There was a time, Alice, that I was, I've always loved since the beginning, since the late 80s, early 90s. I've loved the breakfast burritos. I love them. And my rule on that is it's 1 packet per bite. So 1 packet of hot sauce, picante sauce per bite. This is a great question, by the way. And I appreciate a McDonald's. I hadn't actually. I had anything McDonald's that was interesting until we took a swimming class at the Lexington vocational school where because we didn't have a pool in Winchester, so in elementary school they sent us over to the Voc in Lexington.
I also swam at the Voc in Lexington.
That had a
the
McDonald's
Lexington
in it.
High School swim team. It did not have a McDonald's when I
Well,
went
I
there.
didn't know, but I had some money. My dad gave me money, whatever. We went to the Voc, and I tried something called a Big Mac, and it was the most magical thing I'd ever had, and I think I had 4, which is it's one of the reasons why the scoliosis test a couple of years later was so horrendously damaging to my psyche. So, yes, we'll go with those. That's a great question. I could spend an entire... And Alice actually is a huge McDonald's fan.
Yeah, that's really my only fast food that I am really into.
Yeah, she digs it. She always has.
I've always liked McDonald's, but I don't there's not really any other fast foods that I go seek out. You know what I mean? That's really the only one that I'm just a sucker for McDonald's. I just really like it.
Yeah. There was a time, Alice, listen to this. This was my apex. Although I was the 31-year-old male receptionist at WRKO at the time, there was a time when I used to walk to work in the morning, which was 5 miles, from Beacon Hill to Entercom, which is RKO. And then if I met the guys at the bar afterwards at the baseball tavern, the BBT, I would jog from work with all of my other clothes in a FedEx bag and jog to McDonald's on Comm Ave near Comm and Brighton, whatever, and get McDonald's food and jog and eat at the same time to the bar. So I had a base, so in case so I didn't get too drunk or whatever. And that was my apex. I was absolutely burning every calorie I was intaking, but I'm also running down Comm Ave, jogging while eating McDonald's. But I had to. I couldn't waste any seconds. Oh, that was living. All right.
Hi, Tom. Hi, Alice.
This is the great Tim and Canton. I mean, it's royalty, Alice. This is important.
Okay.
Prostrate yourself.
This is Tim and Canton. From now on, I would prefer that you use my pronouns, which are boxed wine. Otherwise, I'll be triggered. Thanks.
Thoughts?
Sure. Why not?
We have no problem with that. I actually tried to buy a boxed wine for our neighbor yesterday because I saw her at the Packy, and she once again wasn't pleased. I've never bought her or made her a cocktail that she likes. She's very particular. Very.
Wow.
Thanks, Alice. Thanks for helping. All right,
Good
with that,
story. Good story.
Thank you very much. Thank you
had
for
to buy a boxed wine. What's the point of the story?
Thank you for
your grasshoppers were.
Yeah,
quite
thanks.
the hit.
That was the. That was my January 6th, the day I tried to make grasshoppers for our neighbors. You know, their peppermint drinks, whatever. And oh man, they were not having it.
Leave us more voice messages. That's at burnbarrel.com. You can find that. You can also write us an email, burnbarrelpodcast@gmail.com. You can...
Really sold those voice messages, Alice.
I don't know.
Oh, leave us more voice messages at burnbarrel.com. Just meander around or whatever.
Or, like, talk to us on Twitter or whatever.
C'est la vie.